Hey friends, Ash here with Gents coming at you guys with some more first impressions. A small haul that I got in from Macy's. I actually ordered these back maybe a week and a half ago. I've had them for a little bit, but just now getting around to finally opening these up. The new Hugo Boss bottled Eau de Parfum and the new Calvin Klein Eternity Cologne. So two lines here that have been out for quite a while. The Boss bottled line, the Eternity line. A lot of people would say that these are modern classics and got kind of two differing tacts for these fragrances. This one an Eau de Parfum, so I'm imagining more of a fall and wintertime type of scent, and this one a Cologne, so more spring and summertime. Timing wise, seems like Hugo Boss had their timing a little bit better since it's almost heading into the middle of September as of me filming this video. So it's about to be fall and summer is wrapping up. So Calvin Klein, kind of late here. I'm gonna go ahead and crack these open for you guys, show you the presentation, spray them on, see how they smell, at least in the opening in the first part of the mid. So let's jump into this. These fragrances are keeping kind of with that modern trend of just giving you maybe 2 or 3 notes per top, mid, and base of each fragrance. I've talked about this before, but if you go back to like the 80s and before, they listed almost everything. So you would have fragrances with 25 plus notes. Nowadays, you're lucky to see 10. But it does make a little more sense from a marketing perspective because the brands are kind of telling you, okay, this is what you need to look out for. This is what I want you to get from the fragrance. And if they give you those notes, you're more apt to smell them. If they hit you with like 30 notes, a lot of people are just gonna get overwhelmed and go, oh, I don't know, what's this about? So with Hugo Boss bottled Eau de Parfum, you actually have the notes right here on the back of the box, which you don't see all that often. Typically, if you see notes on a presentation, it's because it's a tester and there's a sticker on the back of the bottle that has the notes listed. And that's of course for people in stores who pick it up and spray it and then they can read the notes. So this one has a top of bergamot and apple accord, a mid of cardamom and sage, and a base of olive wood accord and vetiver. So they're giving you 6 notes here. And this is actually different than what you'll find on Fragrantica. On Fragrantica, there's also pepper in the top. On Fragrantica, there is no sage, but there is cinnamon and also chestnut. And then the olive wood accord is not listed on Fragrantica. Instead, there is musk. So this is another one of those situations where we've got some differing notes on Fragrantica. First off, let's check out this presentation. It is your typical Hugo Boss bottled presentation. You've got the name of the fragrance house, the name of the fragrance, the size and concentration right there on the front. You've got Hugo Boss at the top. On the back, you have those notes that I talked about previously, along with your ingredients. And then on the bottom, find your badge code. And it is 0155. And here is the bottle. It's in your typical Boss bottled presentation or bottle style. I got a 50 milliliter, so kind of looks like a miniature to me. All my others are 100 mil or above, so this looks a little odd. On the top, it does say Boss, and that is embossed into the cap. It does click into place, and your sticker is on the bottom with your badge code. So let's go ahead and spray this one on. My first impression is that I don't really care. It's just not really grabbing my attention. It is not. So it doesn't really have all that much of an apple pie kind of feeling off the top. A lot of Boss bottled fragrances do, of course. They have that cinnamon and apple working where it comes across like a baked apple pie or something along those lines. I don't really get much of that here. It settled on my skin for just a minute or two. It is reminding me of the original Boss bottled. Not as much though. The cinnamon is not as front and center here for me. I do get it, but just not as, I don't know if lively is the word I want to use. This one though does come across richer, a little more sophisticated. Probably not surprised since it has this kind of olive gold coloration to it. My initial reaction, just when I first sprayed it on, is that the opening didn't really catch my attention. It's not that it was bad, it just didn't have that je ne sais quoi, or something like that. This one is not coming across as sweet as the original for me. Again, like I said, a little more refined, a little more grown up, if you want to call it that. It does have the bottled DNA, but the cinnamon not as front and center, the apple not as sweet, essentially. The cardamom's starting to come out more in this one, so the cardamom is right there with the cinnamon, if not actually more so than the cinnamon in this one back here, the Eau de Parfum, as compared to the Eau de Toilette. I'm gonna let this one dry down a bit more though and go ahead and open up the Calvin Klein. Let's go ahead and check out this presentation. It's basic, what you would expect. You got the name of the house, name of the fragrance, size and concentration all right there on the front. You got the name of the house, Calvin Klein, at the top, ingredients on the back, and on the bottom your batch code 0155. So yes, that means the batch code for each one of these, 0155. And here's the bottle. That is your standard Eternity bottle, and really pretty hard to tell the difference between this one and the Eau de Toilette. The only thing giving it away is right there on the front where it says Cologne, and then on the bottom of your sticker with your batch code. Let's go ahead and spray this one on. Of course, we had the Eau de Parfum released not that long ago. Now the Cologne. Interesting candied kind of fresh sweetness in the opening, like candied ginger, a very sweet take on the note, sweeter than normal. A lot of times ginger is used as a very brisk, fresh sweetness, but it's not in a candied way or kind of syrupy way, but this one is. I imagine that's also because of the aldehydes here in the top of the fragrance, so those kind of mixing together. It does come across youthful to me because it does have that candied kind of vibe to it that I've mentioned a number of times already. Definitely spring and summertime fragrance. That's not a surprise because it is, after all, named Cologne, though technically it's an Eau de Toilette. So Cologne here is really meant more so as a descriptor for the fragrance than it is the concentration of the fragrance. There's a little bit of fizziness, like this little sparkly pop in the opening. It's settled in for a few minutes now, and it's actually coming out more now than when I very first sprayed it on. When I very first sprayed it on, it was more of that candy sweetness that I've mentioned ad nauseum. I don't hate it though. I actually kind of dig this in a way. I think once this hits discounters and you can pick it up $30 or below, for a lot of people, it's gonna be a pretty nice summer scent. Or spring. This would work really well in spring as well. It is on the sweeter side of things though, as I've mentioned. The aldehydes here do provide kind of an interesting facet with the ginger, but they are not overwhelming for me. A little bit of juniper in there as well, a little bit. Kind of a supporting note for me here in the top. And this one has oak moss and ambroxan in the base. I imagine it's gonna stay kind of a clean, warm, modern type of scent through the dry down. And it is not really reminding me a huge amount of the Eau de Toilette here. All right, I'm gonna go back to Boss Bottled Eau de Parfum and then quickly this one again and just wrap this up to see if they've changed it all. So Boss Bottled Eau de Parfum over here. Yeah, it actually has changed a bit. I like it more now. Again, the opening didn't grab me, but not too bad. This is a nice kind of night out fragrance, fall time fragrance. Don't know if I would say it's really a wintertime scent, but coming across like spring and fall, but more so fall. That being said, realistically, any fragrance that you can wear in the fall, you can wear in the winter. So, you know, I'm actually getting that chestnut note, a good amount of it, along with the cardamom. The cardamom, though, not as sweet as you're gonna find in something like La Nuit de l'Homme. More along the lines of like where they'll use cardamom and call it a green cardamom, more along the lines of that, where instead of being super sweet, it has this kind of dustiness to it. Not that there's no sweetness here, because there's a bit, but much less so than the original, and less so than Boss Bottled Intense, both the Eau de Toilette and Eau de Parfum. It's growing on me. I like it more now than I did initially, so that's a good thing. I'm gonna have to give this one multiple wearings, wear it out and about, kind of see how it works off my skin, but it's trending in the right direction. The opening I wasn't a really huge fan of, but after it's settled down on my skin a bit, I like it a lot more. And now Eternity for Men Cologne. You know, for me, it's kind of getting sickly sweet. Yeah, I just don't know how much of a fan I am of that. I would like some more briskness in here, maybe some pops of greenery, like realistic greenery, maybe even some herbal notes used in a fresh way, or some fresh citrus or something, but it's kind of sticking into this sticky sweet kind of style that I'm just not really liking. After I wrap this up, I'm gonna ask my wife what she thinks, so I'll put that on here as far as which one she likes more and how much she likes them and all that stuff, but I don't overly like how this one's coming across right now. All right, guys, it's gonna do it for me. These two, my favorite is the Boss Bottled Eau de Parfum. I think is a lot nicer than Eternity. It's got a classier feel to it, feels higher quality, smells higher quality, I should say, and I think is more versatile. So Boss Bottled Eau de Parfum of these two, pretty easy call. Even though the opening didn't wow me, as it settled in, it's a lot nicer than Eternity Cologne is. All right, guys, it's gonna do it for me. Thanks for hanging out with me today. Thanks for all your support, and I'll see you guys tomorrow with another fragrance video. See you guys.